Happy Halloween! What is up, guys? This is Welcome to Primetime, our Halloween special. Tonight we are talking about family horror films. I'm your host, Hunter Chambliss. I'm joined by my co-host, Chad and Kerri. How's it going, guys?
It's going great. Happy Halloween. I'm very excited for this one because, Halloween, I don't know, it's very special also when you're a kid. When you're an adult, you might watch a lot of horror, like straight horror, but today we're watching a different kind of horror.
Yes, we are. We are trying to get children into horror films to scar them for life. Not really. No. So these will not scar your children for life, ladies and gentlemen, but they will get a good scare out of them. So yes, tonight we are talking about family horror films. Horror films that you can watch with the whole family or show somebody who wants to get into horror, and maybe they'll enjoy it, maybe they won't, but at least they have that window, that little window of having experienced horror. So let's start off with this. What are some of our favorite family horror films that we used to watch as children? So you guys can start. If you guys have any memories or any movies that you guys want to bring up, we can start there.
Yeah, I mean, we can start off the top with, I think, one of the best, most nostalgic for somebody my age, for someone Carrie's age. I'm not sure about you, Hunter. Maybe, but it's Hocus Pocus.
I just watched it. Yep.
Hocus Pocus it came out in, I believe, 93. And that movie for us was just, I don't know, it was just a staple. And ever since, it's still a staple. I don't know.
Yeah.
Halloween, you just watch Hocus Pocus. It's just one of you watch Halloween 1978 and Hocus Pocus. At least in our house, that's what it is. It's not one of the greatest movies ever made. It's not, going to be in the AFI's top whatever, but it is. I don't know what the hell that this movie just did for us as kids, but it's just so fun. It really captures the Halloween spirit. It's about witches, so it's very fun. It's got a talking cat, and in fact, we named one of our cats, our first cat, Thackeray Binks, after the cat from Hocus Pocus.
There you go.
Danny Thor Birch, little baby Thor Birch, is really fun. So you might identify with her, and then you grow up and you can identify more with her brother. He's a little bit older, and if you start to get romantically involved with other people, then you might, be kind of like him. So you get different levels, and then maybe you grow up and you identify more with their parents,
or the witches,
or with the sisters. Yeah, so it's just a very fun movie. Kerri, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, this was definitely a staple for me growing up. It wasn't. I don't think we watched it every year. I don't think when I was a kid there was one we threw on every year. But this was definitely one I saw quite a bit as a kid, and always really loved it. My mom grew up. She was born and raised in Salem, Massachusetts, so I always loved that the movie took place in Salem.
Yeah, so Hocus Pocus is one that I watched just recently, actually. I think 2 months ago, because I was doing it for a trivia match. Yeah, for the first time.
Wow. Okay, there you go.
I really enjoyed the movie, and probably because it kind of like 78's Halloween. It has that atmosphere of Halloween.
Yeah.
It feels like the season of Halloween because the witches, the kind of setting of this kind of urban town with the leaves and the parties and things like that. It feels like Halloween. So I can put it on and enjoy a kind of fun, campy, but also really kind of enjoyable film.
Yeah, it's just very silly. But it has a legit story. And recently it got a sequel.
It did.
But before we potentially get into that, I just wanted to also I just wanted to second that with the thing Kerri said about, it takes place in Salem. And I think that, I don't know, that just something about that setting, because it is the whole witch trials and it's spooky and, something about that place for some reason is just, it's a really great place to set a horror movie or just a family Halloween film. And there's another one we can get into later, Hubie Halloween, that's also set there, and it's another one that gives me those vibes that I really, really like. So yeah.
So going off of kind of Hocus Pocus, which gets played a lot on like Disney Channel and ABC
Yeah.
Family a lot, I want to bring up one that I used to watch all the time as a kid. The DCOM classic Halloween Town.
Oh,
Yes. Yes.
Starring the great who is it? Debbie Reynolds, mother
Debbie Reynolds.
of
Yes.
Carrie Fisher.
Yes.
I had to think of the name real quick.
Singing in the Rain.
Yep. So to me, these 4 movies, because there were 4 in the series, were the ones that my family watched.
4 of them.
So when Chad and I were younger, I think it was really when we were of that age. It was only Halloween Town and Halloween Town 2.
Yes.
Yep.
Kablar's Revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they had Halloween Town High, and then Return to Halloween Town, which is her in college.
I haven't seen 3 or 4.
I think I saw 3, but I think I saw it when I might have been babysitting someone else's.
There you go.
Yeah, like I'm like a huge like DCOM fan, but it's just from the original, which is another one we can get into, to I want to say High School Musical is when I started to go, I'm really not into Disney Channel anymore.
Yeah.
This is lame. I do
That's
not
about
like
right.
what's his face?
Zac
Efron.
Zac Efron. I think he's okay now, but like then I was like, ugh. And I was like, those movies are lame. Now I kind of actually want to watch them, but I love DCOMs and I love Halloween Town.
Yeah.
That movie is another one that just really captures. It's very, very campy, very silly.
It is,
but it's a kids movie. It's like a legit kids movie.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe even a little more so than Hocus Pocus, because like Hocus Pocus, I think adults can actually watch and see.
Yeah.
What's the main actress who sings? Why am I forgetting her name?
Oh my god, now I'm blanking.
Oh, you're talking about in
Yeah, Bette Midler.
Sarah Jessica Parker. They can watch them for like those people, like we were talking about before. Halloween Town. Well, I guess you can watch Debbie Reynolds, so maybe not.
Yeah,
maybe.
I feel like my mom I probably watched this. My mom was like, "Ooh, Debbie Reynolds."
Yeah.
And they both movies have like really good quotes. Like it's just a bunch of Hocus Pocus, and then Halloween Town is Halloween is cool. I don't know if you've seen that meme, but that's a really fun meme to post.
I've not seen it, but I have to start using that meme more often for everything.
Because it is cool.
No, but like it is, but like again, kind of like with Hocus Pocus. What's great about Halloween Town is when they actually get to the Halloween Town itself, you see just full of energy, full of like, you know, Halloween spirit. Like you see people dressing up, and you see creatures all living together, and you see the grandma who's a witch who lives there. It invites you into this town that loves Halloween so much that it feels like a perfect movie to watch around the October season.
Mm-hmm.
I think we did rewatch it last year.
We did, and it's actually it is kind of scary if you're a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Another scary one I just thought of. There's 2 other scary DCOMs I want to bring up, but yeah, this one it's actually pretty scary because Kablar or Kabar, is it Kabar or Kabar?
Calabar.
Thank you. Sorry, it's been a while. Calabar is like really creepy looking. Holy shit.
Yeah, and then the second one, Calabar's Revenge, it actually ups the scares a little bit, ups the intensity.
That's the one that like things get lost and then they have to go find the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
the big troll.
Yeah, I remember bits and pieces of that plot line, but I have not seen the sequel since I was a kid.
Yeah, same.
You know,
Halloween Town High is kind of interesting because it's like set in like Halloween Town High. So like the little witch daughter goes to high school there.
Is it the youngest daughter in the first movie?
No, it's the oldest daughter.
Okay. So did this come out like right after the second one?
It came out around 2008.
I was about 18 then, so yeah, I would not have been watching Halloween Town 3.
Oh wow, no, I was way off. 2004. So yeah, 2004 was Halloween Town High. Return to Halloween Town was 2006.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so I was still around like 14, 15, 16. And
Yeah.
Kerri was around the same. She's like a year, so that's why she got into the.
15. Yeah.
That's why she got into the third one, and I was like, nah.
There we go.
I do honestly. Either I watched it babysitting, or I was like, or my sister had it on, or something.
Because your sister's like 2 years younger.
Yeah,
so.
and she was definitely still into Disney Channel. Like I think up through high school.
I don't have a younger sibling, so I wouldn't have watched that with them.
That's how I saw most of the later Disney Channel, like later in my era Disney Channel stuff.
I kind of wish I had like a younger sibling to like watch stuff with.
No, because you got to take turns with me.
That's
so
true.
Then you're forced to watch
my sister's like 8 years older than me, so I was watching all this shit on my own.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah, it is fun to have someone to watch that stuff with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Disney Channel had a lot of like one-off like scary type movies. I remember one. It was like Phantom at the Multiplex.
Yes,
which was Megaplex. Yeah.
Megaplex.
My list.
Me too. It has Mickey Rooney in it.
I have a funny story.
It does.
I have a funny story about
that movie. Scared the shit out of me as a kid because it was like a decom take of like Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
Starring kids, of course.
Yeah.
This movie I really liked. This came out. I don't know what year it came out, but this year, this movie. I mean, I can look it up right here. I have it on my.
Yeah, I got it.
It is 2000. So I was 10.
Oh, wow.
And I remember my mom had a sick burn. So what happened was. I was watching Phantom of the Megaplex, and if you didn't know, probably didn't know, I had aspirations of being an actor, and she knew that, and so I was watching. I was like, I can't remember. I just insulted the kid actor or something. I was like, "This actor's not very good," or something like that. And then my mom was like, "Well, he's in a movie right now, and you're not." So, I was like, "Oh, that was a wicked burn."
Oh, damn, Mom. No, but especially like late at night, like because like Disney Channel would like run movies at like 1 or 2 a.m.
Oh,
like decoms and stuff. And I remember waking up one night and seeing Don't Look Under the Bed.
That's the other movie I was going to bring up. That's that and another one I was going to bring up. But yeah,
which is that the one that stars Howie Mandel?
I believe you're thinking of Little Monsters.
Yeah.
Little Monsters, yeah.
That's another one though we could talk about because that's another family horror movie.
I don't remember a lot about that. I don't remember a lot about Don't Look Under the Bed either, except there like one scene where like under the bed there's like this little like world that he goes down into. Like he like traps him under the bed.
About Little Monsters?
Am I?
Both.
I probably am.
To do that, I think.
Yeah.
I remember Don't Look Under the Bed. I don't think any of the actors are like well-known people or anything, but I remember that I think this movie kind of got pulled from the Disney Channel because parents said it was like way too scary.
Way too scary.
Because it actually was pretty damn scary. I was like, oh my God, with this movie. It's creepy.
Yeah, which is actually when a decom gets like pulled from Disney Channel, you fucked up.
Don't quote me on that. I'm not exactly sure, but I remember there was like a little bit of a controversy there about, is it too scary?
Yeah, fair enough. So I haven't seen these movies in a long time, so some stuff is going to be kind of muddled, but I remember titles of movies more than I do kind of the actual movies themselves.
Yeah, we're kind of in the same boat. I haven't seen those in a while. It's weird because I kind of want to watch them again. Like, I know some people who have done like decom. Sorry about that.
That's cool.
Decom binges and stuff like that. Kind of want to do that. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Don't Look Under the Bed, Halloween Town are great. The other one is Under Wraps. Have you heard of this movie?
The Mummy one.
Yes.
Hold on one second. Yeah, that was one of the first DComs.
Yes, it is the first Disney Channel original movie. It's called Under Wraps. Came out in 1997 when I was about 7. Kerri would have been around like 6 or something like this when this came out. And you know, she'll have to give her opinion when she gets back. But Under Wraps was one of my favorite. It was one of my favorite movies of that time, and it's really terrible because this movie hasn't been put on Disney Plus. There was one time I went to watch it, and it was I thought it was gonna, but they remade it or something, like just recently.
Oh, really?
And I was like, this isn't the Wonder Wraps I'm talking about. And then I was like upset to find out that you know, it wasn't the same movie, and I think DVDs of it were expensive. But I'd like to rewatch it because I really like that movie. Did you try to see Under Wraps when you were a kid?
It sounds familiar. I'm sure I did.
This is so. Oh, gotta plug in the computer. This was so weird because, you know, I love this movie, and it's so cool that it was like the first Disney Channel like original movie up from like the channel. So.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Hunter.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
There's one that I always thought it was a DCOM, but it was actually a Fox Family original movie. Fox Family was ABC Family before it was ABC Family. Now it's Freeform.
Yep.
But it's called, and I was like, I had to look up the title. I was like, I know Christopher Lloyd is in it. It's called When Good Ghouls Go Bad. And Christopher Lloyd is a ghoul in this movie.
That sounds familiar, but I don't remember much.
And there was a novelization, I'm pretty sure, and I had the book of it.
I have never heard of that movie, but I want to look it up right now to see what it is.
Do you have anything to say about it?
Oh, you know, it was based on a book by R.L. Stein. I just remember Christopher Lloyd being in it. I remember thinking it was good when I was a kid.
This does seem very familiar looking at pictures of it. I don't remember much about it, though.
Yeah.
I do have one last DCOM I just remembered. Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire.
Vampire. Yeah.
It is basically like
one of the ants from Sabrina, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yep. It's basically a DCOM version of Fright Night. Is exactly what it is.
It is, yeah.
And it also has it's got Matt O'Leary in it. He's been in some stuff, like not recently, I guess. Oh, he was in Frailty, which is have you seen Frailty, Hunter?
I need to watch it. It's on HBO Max.
This is one of my favorite movies from also when I was a kid. It is not a family horror movie.
Frailty? I've seen Frailty. I haven't seen The Faculty. I got those confused.
Right. Yeah. Faculty is also a very good movie, but Frailty, the kid
That's a good movie.
Mom's Got a Date with the Vampires and Frailty. Definitely check that out, audience or whoever, if you haven't seen it, because Frailty is excellent. Stars and was directed by Bill Paxton. So
it's also got Matthew McConaughey, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
So I want to bring up another DCOM that I used to watch all the time. And I don't know if you guys, this may be out of your Chad's like time period.
Probably.
But Twitches.
That's on the verge, I think. I've seen Twitches, but a long time ago.
Yeah.
I do. I used to watch like Smart Guy, the TV show Smart Guy and stuff like that. It's with Taj Mowry, who is the little brother of Tia and Tamara Mowry.
Yeah.
Who were the stars of Twitches and a lot like Sister and a lot of these shows from around that time. They were popular back then, like big time. So yeah, Twitch is. I don't remember the quality of the movie, but it's like Teenage Witches.
Yeah, that was one I either didn't see, or again, like my sister might have had it on, like, but I really didn't pay attention to it. But I watched a lot of Sister with them.
Yes.
Any?
It's
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Twitch is interesting because it takes the subject matter seriously for a kids film, which is what I like. Like it deals with there we go. It deals with like abandonment issues of like one twin being adopted by this, rich family, the other one being adopted by nobody and having to live by herself, and then them kind of meeting up and realizing that their mother was like a witch, and like this darkness is following them. It's very, very mature for the type of movie they were going for the Disney Channel.
That actually sounds like a really interesting. Like I can't speak on the quality of this film, but that actually sounds like a really interesting concept, because I know that like with twins, there have been like actual like studies, like sociological studies, where they're like, if they're two twins, right? So they share basically like very similar DNA. So it's like, if you take this twin and they have like a really good life, and this twin and they have a really bad life, I guess poor versus rich, if you consider that great and really not so great. And how would they turn out? How different would they be? How similar would they still be because they're twins? So I don't know if how much it actually explores that, but that sounds really interesting. And I think it can really only truly happen in like movies, because splitting up twins to have like a study like that sounds really unethical. So.
Yeah. All right. So that's most of the.
I do have one more movie that is kind of like Twitches, but I don't think it's like a horror movie, but it's a family like supernatural kind of movie. Did you see it? It's 1989's Teen Witch. Has anybody seen this?
No.
Okay, this movie is really interesting. It's just about a teen witch. There's not much else to say about it, but it's really. I watched it a lot as a kid for some reason. I think it came on the Disney Channel a lot, and I just watched it. It looks like it has Zelda Rubinstein in it, who is the psychic from Poltergeist. So,
okay.
There's a connection for you if you're looking for a reason to watch this.
There we go.
It's a fun movie.
So now let's get into the movies that like.
Sorry, go ahead.
That like will scare little kids, but like maybe if you're like 10, 11, maybe you'll find these kind of scary enough. And the first one I want to bring up is Coraline from 2009.
Also have that on the little list I made. Yes.
Perfect, like 90-minute horror ride that you're just like, what the fuck is this movie? Like, what is happening? Like the button eyes and just like so many creepy moments that I remember from that movie as a kid.
Yeah, it's actually like a book written by Neil Gaiman.
Of course it is.
I haven't read the book, but it's also it's a Henry Selick movie. He did some other ones I'll mention. Nightmare Before Christmas. He also did James and the Giant Peach, and recently I forget what it's called. It's like Wendell and
Wild.
What is?
Wendell and Wild.
Okay, they could have come up with a name that's not as confusing. Yeah, Wendell and Wild.
Yeah,
it's even hard to say.
Yeah. So thoughts on Coraline?
Coraline's great. I watched this one in college, and it's a really cool like animated. It's stop motion, right? Or
yeah.
No?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool stop motion movie.
I mean,
yeah, a little freaky.
Yeah. Definitely freaky. I know. What is it? Dakota Fanning voices Coraline in this film. She does really well. The mom is voiced by, oh my god, she does a lot of like TV.
Carrie Hatcher.
Oh, so it's not Sarah Paulson. I thought it was Sarah Paulson.
No, She wasn't. I don't even think she was a thing back in.
I don't think she was, or if she was active, she wasn't very active.
But it also has. I believe I got this wrong in like a trivia match at some point. Wait, it wasn't yours, was it? It was Keith David voices the cat.
Oh, it was a trivia match you just did. I think it was.
Wasn't today.
No, it was the one you did most recently before that.
But yeah, Keith David voices the cat.
It's definitely a really great movie. I know a lot of people bring this one up because it's just, I don't know, it's just so unique. She goes into like a different kind of upside down world, and then everyone has buttons on the eyes, and that's just really uncanny valley, like off-putting and weird. And I think there's like a spider at some point.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, so the mom turns into like this giant mother spider.
Yeah, and
creature.
Henry Selick is just really good at stop motion. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I really want to see the new one. We were just the one with the really confusing title. I'm just kidding.
So another one, kind of in that same genre, is from 2006, Monster House.
Yes.
This one is in the same area, being like a little too intense for little kids, but if you're in the right age, this movie could hit you in, scare you in the right way, I would say. Which the old man is voiced by Steve Buscemi, which is great to see him acting in anything. It's got Catherine O'Hara as the mom, Mitchell Musso as the lead, another Disney Channel star. Man, like the cast is insane when it comes to like the voice talent in this movie, and the whole idea is unique. Like this house coming alive and being the creature and sucking you in, and I don't know. It's scary in a different way because like home is supposed to be your safe haven, and they take that and turn it into the creature itself, which is kind of smart.
Yeah, I actually didn't see this when it first came out, but I remember watching it with Kerri. I was like, let's finally watch this movie Monster House that I never got around to watching. And I was surprised at like how good and actually scary it was for like, a kid or a kind of older kid oriented scary, like, evil house movie.
Kerri?
Yeah, this was a fun one that we watched together. We definitely didn't watch it when we were younger, but it's a cool one.
Yeah. So I love how like the times that we grew up are different. So our movie tastes are going to be kind of like in different eras of movies. Because like in 2006, I was like 8 or 9, so this movie Monster House hit me like perfect timing.
Okay, yeah, I don't even think we watched this one. We definitely didn't watch this one until I would say like 2 or 3 years ago or something.
Yeah, it was something like
that. Within the past 5 years.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Our other house.
Can I bring up briefly, because I know we're in like a section of.
Yeah, I just had some kids ones.
Yeah, can I bring up another stop motion movie that's really, 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 really good? It's Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
Oh yeah.
I've never seen that. I gotta watch it.
Crap, dude. Okay, so I love Aardman stop motion. So I love Chicken Run. A lot of those. This one is easily one of their best, and it's like, I don't know. It's like a rabbit that gets infected and turns into like a monster were-rabbit thing. It's all about like planting vegetables and vegetable gardens, and there's pumpkins in it, and it's easily like a really good, like I really actually we should watch it because I haven't seen it in a very long time, but I watched it, and just the level of stop motion in that movie, there's like action sequences in this movie and it's stop motion, like that has to be like insanely difficult to do, yet they pulled no punches and it just looks so good, and the action is really amazing in it, and it's really fun.
And I would say it's a lot of like physical, and all of their movies are a lot of physical comedy. So I think they're good for really all ages. Like You can be a little kid. I don't think this
Definitely.
is too scary for a little kid.
Mm-mm.
And you can be an adult, and I think we really enjoyed this movie and still found it really funny.
Yeah, because even they had another one that is my favorite of theirs, which is called Shaun the Sheep. And that movie had like pretty much zero dialogue. It was all just physical stuff. Like
Speaking of Shaun the Sheep, I've heard that name before, and it's only because, again, going back to Disney Channel when I was younger, they would play like during like commercials or like when the show would end short, they would play these little mini like episodes, and they had episodes of Shaun the Sheep.
nice.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's like a movie version of that, and it's
Yeah.
really good.
Okay. Of course, I have to bring up the classic 1988 Beetlejuice.
Yes, yeah.
Put that on my list as well. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a movie that I watched probably for the first time 3 or 4 years ago. 3 or 4 Halloweens ago. And I absolutely loved it. I know there's a Broadway musical of it that I'm hooked on right now as well. I don't know, everything about this movie is fun, it's kind of dark, it's twisted. It has that 80s kind of like grunginess of like I don't give a fuck. So if this scare kids or not, this is PG when PG actually mattered. So like Beetlejuice is just fun, man.
Yeah, I grew up with Beetlejuice. This movie is one of Tim Burton's best. And like just this was when Tim Burton was like at the height of his like powers. And I think maybe his last great one was Sweeney Todd, which does not belong on this list. It's very beautiful and dark. But Beetlejuice does ride that line because it does have some crass stuff in it. Beetlejuice is very inappropriate. But as a kid watching it, you don't really like pick up on a lot of his like sexual jokes and stuff like that
until later.
Until you're older, yeah. But Michael Keaton crushed that role. This was bad. This was like back when Alec Baldwin was like thinner, so you go, oh my god, that's Alec Baldwin. What? Because you're used to
I totally didn't know he was in this movie till I watched it. I was like, wait a minute, I know that guy.
Yeah, and it also has and she just won. Didn't she just win an award at like the Emmys or somewhere? Like the Gina Davis.
Oh yeah.
Gina Davis.
She's fantastic. I think she does like philanthropy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Gina Davis is fantastic, and the great Winona Ryder and the great Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah.
I put on my Halloween list or Halloween playlist the Day. And every single time I hear that, all I can see is Catherine O'Hara going like, yeah. So this movie is just fun. It's not Candyman. You only have to say Beetlejuice thrice.
Beetlejuice.
Elzebub.
It's showtime.
It's showtime. And even like these stop motion like sandworm stuff are really fun. It just looks kind of dated, but it's fine. Yeah, it's just a really fun movie.
Yeah, this one is so fun, and I would say probably little kids would be scared by this, but I think starting like 7 or 8, like beyond that, I think this is just enjoyable.
Especially when it's like he turns into like the snake. Stuff like that. Oh, and like when they're actually going and trying to scare the people that just moved into the house, that stuff is pretty scary too.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you guys have heard songs from the Broadway musical.
I want to see it, but I haven't yet.
Look up on Spotify or YouTube or whatever. They have the whole like song list. There are some great songs in there. There's one that I'm hooked on called "Say My Name." It's Beetlejuice's introduction to the audience.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's amazing.
And go to Broadway and check that out.
There you go. And in that same kind of element of, the Beetlejuice, kind of the darker, we have the Addams Family movies, the Addams Family and Family Values.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
love these movies, man. From 91 and 93. Both, I believe, both directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, who did the Men in Black films a few years later.
Yeah. Yeah. Barry Sonnenfeld is actually, I don't know, he's very actually kind of Tim Burton. You know, because like the way, because he works with Danny Elfman, and then the way like his
Mhm.
fonts in like Men in Black are just look like the really gothic like Tim Burton, and these movies
Yeah.
are very very gothic and very of that same time. So
Mhm.
not saying that he doesn't have his own style, but they're very similar. So it really works. Like you could, like you were saying, you can watch Beetlejuice, you can watch The Addams Family, and just have a really great time with all of those movies. They're very very fun. And if you are a Buffy fan like we are, little Harmony is in Addams Family Values.
Oh yeah, she's the like basically Christina Ricci, Wednesday Addams arch nemesis in the movie.
Yeah, it's amazing. She's like
Wait,
so
who?
Harmony from Buffy.
She's like one of Cordelia's friends.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
She's like a little
Yes.
girl in that movie.
Yeah.
So, I absolutely love these movies because of how kind of like zany and like weird and gothic they are. But
Yeah.
also, like, what's cool about it is like when you think of the Addams Family, of course the original show, but you look at the family that they cast, like Raul Julia, Angelica Houston, and of course,
Lloyd.
yeah, Christopher Lloyd, Christina Ricci is Wednesday Addams.
Yeah.
Like, there's like so many like iconic roles that you're like, oh, like of course, Wednesday Addams, has to look like, Christina Ricci now. Like that's what inspired Jenna Ortega in this
Yes.
upcoming Wednesday film
Or
series.
I can't wait to check that out. I hope it's really good.
It looks amazing, which from the trailers and stuff, it looks like super super fun. Like Harry Potter meets like Addams Family, and it's just
Nice.
it's awesome, man. So yeah, man. I mean, what's great is like the Addams Family is a movie that like it's not too scary, but they have like really cool like I don't know how to say this, like gothic like thematics around it that it's like it gets you in the mood for like the Halloween season.
Yeah. My favorite part about these is that, and Kerri and I, a long time ago, saw Nathan Lane in an Addams Family Broadway musical that they had. It was very brief run, I think, but it was really interesting. However, I really do like this property, and the reason why is because it's just like a family where to them all of the shit that we think is weird is normal, and the shit that we think is normal is weird to them. And they're like, why would anybody want to ever do that? Like, why don't you go out and try to wake the dead and stuff like why do people not do stuff like that? Why and try to
torture your brother,
little brother? Yeah, exactly. And why? Like, I don't know.
Kerri, any thoughts on these?
Yeah, I grew up with these, and they're so fun. I think they're so still enjoyable as an adult. And they're not very scary. Like they obviously have a big horror element to them, but they're really not scary.
No, they're not.
Yeah. So there's like a lot of these like early 2000s movies that I remember the titles of, and I remember watching them, and I remember a little bit of them, but like I can't remember a lot from it. One of them is The Little Vampire.
I was just thinking about that movie. I literally just clicked on it in Letterboxd.
Jonathan Lipnicki.
Oh, is that a different one than the one with that's Little Monsters.
Yeah, Little Monsters.
Little Monsters.
Yeah. This is Jonathan Lipnicki, and go ahead, Hunter.
Yeah, Jonathan Lipnicki, I believe, right before Stuart Little. So he's like had a big run in the early 2000s. So
I think Stuart Little was maybe 1999, but I can't. I'm not sure.
Maybe you're right. So yeah, he was just coming off of Stuart Little. Yeah, this movie I remember watching as a kid. Like it kind of scared me a little bit when I was younger, but like it's one of those that kind of looks cheesy now. You're like, I can't believe I was ever scared of this.
Yeah, this movie, my mom took me to the theater to see. I was like 10 when it came out, and I didn't know then, but Richard E. Grant plays like the older vampire. He's a really good actor. Yeah,
Is that the dad or the?
yeah, it's Richard E. Grant.
I don't know.
He's like in About Time and stuff like that. But yeah, him and Jonathan Lipnicki. Yeah, this was a really fun movie when I was a kid. I like this one a lot. I mean, there's not much to say about it. Like I think he turns into a vampire. I remember they go to like New Zealand or they go to some other country and they're driving on the other side of the road, and I was like, what? Anyway.
All right, so let's get into kind of movies that maybe a tween or like a teenager would probably like watching, or someone who's like wants to get into horror for the first time may enjoy these films. The first one I think of is the recent one, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I think if you're 12, 13, that would be a really good kind of entry level into horror, because there are some really horrific imagery in that film, like the mirror when she's popping the zit or whatever, and spiders come out of it, and she's like crawling all over her. You got the red room scene, which is very, very intense. The flashing lights and stuff. So, thoughts on this film right here?
Yeah, I thought this was a good one. This one obviously it came out. I think we were all a little bit older when this came out, probably past teen years. But it was still really fun. I definitely grew up with the books scaring the living shit out of me. My mom would get so mad because I would read the books and I would be terrified for like the next week or two. And I would have to because the book cover is so scary, I would have to let it down. I'd have to put something on top of it, and, like it's something that's going to come out of the book. But I thought the movie was pretty good. I know some people were maybe a little disappointed, but I thought it was a good entry level horror movie.
Yeah, I come from a kind of a different perspective because I didn't really read those books that much when I was a kid. I can't remember if I ever did, but watching that movie, I really liked it. And I just thought it was I didn't know what to expect, and it's just a really good movie. And it was actually, really scary. There's a lot of really intense parts. I remember there was that one thing that hugged the person and absorbed them. What?
Yeah, the red room. You have the
what is this?
The famous "Where's My Toe" story. Kerri, you remember that one?
Oh, and what is the name of that one guy that's really weird and and that thing was really creepy and really well done.
The scene I love is where his head rolls down into the chimney, and it just and then you see like blinking and like talking. It's really creepy, man.
Yeah. I really like the Harold the Scarecrow part. I think that was one of the original stories. And
cool. He was on the cover of the first book, I believe.
No, the first book's like a skull. At least the version I had was.
You're right. Yeah.
It might have been one of the other books though.
The name of the thing I was talking about is the Jangly Man.
Jangly Man.
Yeah.
And it was actually really scary. So I would say definitely teens or older.
Yeah. Oh
yeah. And then of course we get the teen movies, teen horror movies, like Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, things that are kind of more intense, but kind of in that 90s teen era, I would say.
And then you have we've already covered this, so we're not talking about the Fear Streets.
Yeah,
Fear Street trilogy.
Fear Street.
That's definitely a teen.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Those ones I think would be PG-13. Scream, I think is R.
Yeah, Scream is more older.
Yeah. Older teens.
17 or older.
So I really fucked up. I watched Scream first.
No, I watched Friday the 13th first when I was like 6, so don't worry about it.
But then you have like another like R that is an R-rated movie. I believe it's R-rated. Maybe it's PG-13, but it like really fits the teenage vibe. Jennifer's Body. That's
R.
definitely
That's
like,
R.
but it's definitely like a teenager kind of movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like a very like, kind of emo, like rock band, kind of a band that you'd be into when you're in high school.
Fall Out Boy type band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably better than Fall Out Boy. I love Low Shoulder.
Low Shoulder, baby. Adam Brody. You have a scene with Star-Lord Chris Pratt
Yeah.
as officer his name Officer Steve or something like that.
All I know is Through the Trees is a damn banger.
I get so sick of that song by the end of the movie, though.
Yeah.
Through the trees.
So yeah, a lot of different movies you can watch, horror movies you can watch in different phases of your life.
Yeah.
There is one I want to bring up that kind of goes back to like younger kids.
Yeah.
But it's more of a TV show. That's Goosebumps.
Oh yeah.
The movie or the show?
Well, yeah.
The show.
We probably all grew up watching the show, rather, because I think the movie was like
2017.
Yeah, we were all probably in our late teens. But Chad and I were definitely we got married that year. So
2015.
okay, still
2015.
Yeah.
Yeah.
College for both of us.
Goosebumps the show was really interesting. I loved. This is more my area. I didn't read the Fear Street stuff because I wasn't old enough for that really, and then I didn't read the scary stories, but I did read Goosebumps, and mostly the Goosebumps that I read were all the Choose Your Own Adventure Goosebumps. Those were like my favorites.
Oh yeah.
I didn't like those.
Oh, you didn't?
Yeah.
And then I liked being able to like make the different choices and see where the story goes. And then I remember specifically the episode of Goosebumps that was the mask that it puts on, and then they became that.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I was like terrified of that.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of that Buffy episode.
I was about to say that. Yeah, the Buffy episode. Yeah, I remember that. I remember was it the Monster Blood episode? Because I was a huge like Monster Blood like reader when I was younger of the Goosebumps series. So seeing that in live action was really cool, and like knowing the beats it was gonna go. I remember when I was like 8 or 9, going into like the book fairs you had at school, and you would get all your money up just to buy like Goosebumps novels. Yeah, buy like the Goosebumps novels and stuff. God, memories.
They're also, I think it was separate from the TV show. There were also these little movies, Goosebumps movies. I remember renting
mostly
those.
ghostly.
They were like Goosebumps, and like I know there was one for like the first book, which is like it's like a haunted house.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were really scary when I was a kid. I remember renting those at sleepovers and being so scared.
That's awesome. But if we talk about the actual like Jack Black movie, we did watch that recently, and it's actually pretty fun.
It's not bad, yeah.
And like if you like Jack Black and his like really silly humor, you're gonna like that Ghostbusters movie because he voices a lot of characters and stuff like that.
I will say I still love the Goosebumps series more. Like I think just because the books are just like these little self-contained stories, it lends itself so much more to a series.
It's
rather
better
than
that
movie.
way. Yeah.
But the movie was fun.
Which I'm not gonna lie, I think doing like an updated version of Goosebumps as like an anthology series on like Netflix or something would be cool.
Oh my god,
it would be like Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, but for like teenager oriented.
Yeah, and you could hire people like Jacob Tremblay, some really good kid actors who are coming out like big nowadays.
That kid's grown.
Yeah. Yeah. So, is there any more movies that you guys want to bring up when it comes to whether it's children, teen, families?
I have quite a few as well. Kerri, you can go first.
All right, I'll say one for very little kids. Double Toil and Trouble is a Mary Kate and Ashley movie.
Oh,
It's their Halloween movie.
dude.
Mary Kate and Ashley were very big in my household.
Yeah, it was full of little girls.
This is one that was definitely on rotation in my early years.
I think I remember the poster of that. It has like a little cauldron. Am I right on this?
There might have been. The one that comes up on Google is them on a pumpkin, but I feel like I've seen
Might have been. But when I think of that, when I think of Double Toilet, I think of someone brewing a potion. So maybe I'm inventing that in my head.
And then the other one I wanted to bring up, also for little kids, and definitely it's one you can. There are several of these, but it's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
Or it's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a classic. That one I think we always watched on TV.
Yeah. And okay, I thought Hunter was frozen for a second there. I was like, no, he's not.
Sorry, I'm looking up something real quick.
That's okay. The peanut stuff is really, really cool. Especially like the Christmas one, because the actual album that came out is a fantastic album in its own right. But yeah, the Halloween special is really cool. I don't watch it too much, but it's really great. Probably won't get around to it this year, unfortunately, but we watched so much horror that we just didn't get a lot into the Halloween stuff. Maybe we'll do that tonight, and tomorrow. Yeah. But yeah, and then with Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen, I didn't watch that one, but I did watch some of the other ones like Billboard Dad.
Oh yeah,
stuff like that.
And they had several shows, and we watched all the shows. Several direct-to-home video movies. We had all of those.
Well, I was a Full House stan, so
I loved Full House, man, when I was younger.
Yeah,
that and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air were like my two favorite sitcoms when I was younger.
Full House is just a warm hug of a show.
Yep. So there is one that I'm going to bring up from the early 2000s that I'm not sure if you guys have heard of or not. It's called Scary Godmother.
No.
From 2003.
Okay, so not Fairy Godmother, but Scary
Godmother. So I'm not sure if you guys can see this. It was a weird, like, stock animated, like.
Oh, interesting. I haven't heard of
Cartoon Network used to play it every Halloween. From 2003. It was a weird movie. It was like 40 minutes, but like the stuff you had in this movie, especially when you're older and you get the references, hilarious. Because there's a skeleton. There's a skeleton in there that's clearly gay, and he makes coming out of the closet jokes constantly.
Oh my gosh!
Wow, early 2000s.
Yep.
Yep. So I don't know what I was like. Yeah, Scary Godmother was a thing. I remember that.
It's weird even like people who grow up in the same time period. It's weird because it's you to some extent when you're little, you have very little control over what you watch, or you just watch what kind of you're used to watch. Yeah, what comes on, whatever channel you grew up watching, you just watch whatever comes on there, and like
Yeah. So let's get into kind of Halloween themed episodes of like kids cartoons or like sitcoms that used to do like the Halloween specials. What are ones that kind of stick out to you guys?
I just remember distinct like spooky themed shows that were always very popular in Halloween, and like Are You Afraid of the Dark was one that one scared the shit out of me because I watched it when I was like
that
4.
show's fantastic, but
and then like
scary.
Courage the Cowardly Dog was really
yes. The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy was amazing. It was like gothic, like Cartoon Network.
Oh yeah.
I was a little bit too old for that.
I never watched it, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And I remember being just slightly too old, being like, I want to watch this and like it, but it's just not for me at this point in my life.
Yeah.
I love when they had shows like exactly what you're talking about, where they just had like Halloween themed episodes, and like I don't know, they just were so exciting. Like obviously you got like the Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors,
yes,
which I didn't. I've been like in and out of the Simpsons my entire life because it's like been on my entire life. But I I never was like that into like those specific episodes. One that popped in my head when you asked that question though was an episode of freaking one of my favorite childhood shows, Boy Meets World. And it's one where Corey.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's
I
one where
think.
Corey kind of imagines he's turning into a werewolf.
Oh, that's not the one I'm talking about then.
And I don't remember too much about it. I think he got like sick. He had like mono or something like that. And then he thought, I might be conflating two different episodes actually. But I don't know if it was like a whole thing on puberty, but it was younger Corey. So it might have been. But yeah, it was a episode.
There was one that Dead Meat did a kill count on, A Boy Meets World. It's called And Then There Was Sean.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
That Jennifer Love Hewitt
episode was like everything to me in my childhood. Yes. That episode is like a slasher movie.
It is, yep.
It's amazing. I used to write like screenplays and stuff when I was a kid, and it was all based on that episode. You laugh, but that episode, I don't know. It was just like they kept getting picked off. They all had like a detention, and they kept getting picked off, and yet it had Jennifer Love Hewitt in it. And
funny, very funny line where they're comparing screams, like she screams, and then the best friend or the girlfriend, yeah, she screams and she goes, "No, girl, I am the screamer."
Oh, so good! I'm so glad you brought that up because that brought me back to whenever that. Holy shit!
Bringing back memories. I remember the Halloween episodes of SpongeBob were always real fun too, like the Scaredy Pants episode where he's doing the ghost and he cuts off his actual hair, his actual like body parts, I guess, and then you see his brain at the end. It was fucking weird, man.
Oh my God.
So some really weird episodes as we were a kid, man.
Yeah.
I wish I could like off the top of my head think of more because I'm gonna think of more later and I'm gonna be like, oh, I should have brought that up, but I can't remember. I'm trying to think, but I don't know. You can't think of anything?
I don't know. I thought I had just thought of something, but now it kind of just slipped my memory. But
there was another DCOM movie that actually became a series. It was called My Babysitter's a Vampire.
Oh.
Interesting.
So it started off as a movie, and then it has I don't know if you guys watch Riverdale or have seen Riverdale at all.
I've heard of it.
Okay, but it has somebody who stars in that movie is a part of that cast now.
Okay.
It's like really weird because like each episode is like episodic, but it like each week is like a different monster of the week. It was kind of like Buffy almost, where it's like the early seasons were like kind of episodic. You got monster of the week, and then like they befriend a vampire, and like she fights for them, and they like one's a tech genius, one's like a book nerd, and they kind of work together. It was kind of a very interesting like modern day Buffy kind of for like the Disney Channel. It's kind of
that's cool.
Kind of cool.
Another show that is like horror adjacent. It's not scary in any way, but it was Sabrina the Teenage Witch with what's her face? Oh my gosh, Melissa Joan Hart.
Melissa Joan Hart.
I loved that as a kid, and then actually our cat, we wound up naming him Thackeray Binks. I had wanted to initially name him Salem. For the cat and that.
I won.
He convinced me. He's like, yeah, but we can call him Binks, and then it'll be so cute.
Yeah. Thackeray Binks.
Yeah, and now we only call him Binks. We only call him Thackeray Binks when we watch Hocus Pocus.
Yeah. You mentioned Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I was looking up a slate of episodes, which I can actually go through these a little bit, the ones that I've seen. But there's a Halloween specific episode of that show called A River of Candy Corn Runs Through It. And I don't remember the episode, but, you know, it's a cool title.
Yeah. Um,
Can I go through some of these real quick of this list? 'Cause
yeah,
it's
good.
a good list. So it's the Great Pumpkin. Charlie Brown, I think, is actually like a TV special.
Yeah, they were all of those Charlie Peanuts ones were TV specials.
And then you have Friends, the one with the Halloween party where
I've never seen Friends.
Ross dresses up like Spudnik. So he's like a potato with like an antenna on his head. So it's called
Oh my god.
And then Matthew Perry is dressed as like a pink bunny. Oh, and Gunther's dressed as Charlie Brown. You can see this picture.
Yeah, I think I've seen that episode.
And then you have hold on, I have a couple. Then you have the 2 Buffy episodes, Halloween and Fear Itself.
Yeah.
Both fantastic. Halloween, they kind of change into the costume that they're wearing. And then Fear Itself, Hunter hasn't gotten there yet. But Fear Itself is more of a haunted house type.
That was actually
pretty
for
cool.
me the second scariest episode of Buffy.
It's so good.
I can't wait to get there then.
For you to get there. And then you have The Office, the Halloween episode, where like Michael's wearing like the paper mache like himself. And Dwight dresses as a Sith Lord. It's amazing.
I've never seen The Office either.
Wow.
So.
And then one of my favorite shows, Hunter, if you ever get around to watching this, called Freaks and Geeks. You've seen that?
I've seen season 1.
That's the only season. So you've seen the only season of Freaks and You've seen all of Freaks and Geeks.
I guess.
I
thought there was a second season.
Yeah, there's an episode called Tricks and Treats. It's a Halloween episode where Sam Weir dresses as Tin Man.
I think I remember that episode slightly.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've watched Freaks and Geeks.
There is an episode of Community called Epidemiology that's Halloween.
A lot of these aren't really family.
You said Halloween TV. I don't know. I'm sorry.
I mean,
there's a
Community
Burgers called Full Bars. Did you see that one?
Oh, let me.
This is not good.
Sure.
This is not good
No,
TV.
it's not. No, sorry.
I'm sorry for distracting. I apologize.
No, it's fine.
I can go through some other movies that I have on my list.
I actually have 2 I want to bring up. They might be on your list already. The Scooby-Doo films, the 2 one from the early 2000s with Matthew Lillard and
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie Prinze Jr. Those movies, man.
Cardellini from Freaks and Geeks.
Yep.
Stacked
Linda Cardellini.
Oh yeah.
I believe the first movie had a villain portrayed by who's it? Mr. Bean. I can't remember.
Oh, Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah, it's either
Rowan
the
Atkinson.
first or the second. It might have been the second, the one where they're on the island where he's the villain, but I can't remember.
The one on the island is the first one. The second one's Monster Unleashed, which has Seth Green, I believe.
Oh, okay. I thought. Okay.
Oh.
I've seen the first one a lot. I think is why.
You got Buffy
I
and
did too.
Oz
Yeah.
in the same
Yep.
movie. That's nice. Well, they're
Buffy
friends,
and Oz.
so it's really cool to see.
And
Yeah.
the Scooby-Doo TV show, I loved growing up. I loved that show.
The animated one.
That sparingly. I watched that a little bit, but I didn't like super get into it.
I
that
watched
much.
like all of. I think there was like a modern, updated version when I was a kid,
Wow.
but there was also the '70s one used to come on all the time, and I watched that show.
And then you had the movies, which are really fun, and then you had the Supernatural episode.
Oh, yeah.
Scooby Natural was amazing.
It's a really fun episode.
There was a great line in there where like Sam tries to say a cuss word and Dean goes, "Sam, no cursing here." He gets so excited about being like with the gang itself. It's hilarious, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that about Dean. His like nostalgia childhood stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. I have some others that I can bring up.
Go ahead.
So we were just watching this one and we didn't actually finish, and I haven't seen any of the other ones, but Hotel Transylvania. Did you watch any of those?
I watched the first one. It was not bad.
I wasn't super getting into it, but I thought some of it was pretty funny. I don't have a lot of other thing to say. I mean, it's Adam Sandler. He's funny in it.
Yeah, I fell asleep. But...
Oh, okay, never mind.
Not that has nothing to do with the quality of the movie. I will fall asleep during literally any movie.
Yeah. So another one that I'd like to bring up that is more kid oriented is I like to think of as the first movie that I ever saw in a movie theater. You know what it is, right? Because I talk about this sometimes. Casper. It's just called Casper, not the Friendly Ghost. But it came out in 1995. It also has Christina Ricci in it. So I believe she was probably a very big childhood crush of mine because, you know, like in a 5-year-old way, you know. Yeah, it's a really. Oh, I think this has Devon Sawa in it.
Oh, really?
Yes, it does.
Oh my god.
He's the
Devon Sawa?
Yeah, so there's a like Final Destination fame.
Destination.
There, yeah, and he was in like Little Giants, and he was like a big kind of little teenage like heartthrob kind of a deal. Back
Yeah, recently he was in the season 1 of the Chucky series as well.
Yes, and we need to check that out soon. We're going.
So good.
After Yellow Jackets, we will check out Chucky.
Chucky is so good, man. Season 2 just started.
Nice. But Casper, because they're I guess spoiler alert for Casper 1995. I think a lot of the I don't know if this is the one where a lot of the ghosts turn into like human form, but Casper does, and that's Devon Sawa, and he's like the human form of.
That's cool.
Because like Casper and Christina Ricci have like this like romantic kind of like whatever, and then you know he turns into human. They have like a little dance. It's really cute. It's got Bill Pullman in it.
Was there a
yeah.
I feel like
yeah.
Sequels,
There was a sequel to it, and there's another one called Casper and Wendy with
oh yeah, I've seen that one.
What's her face? Hilary Duff.
Yes.
Little baby Hilary Duff.
Oh my god.
A lot of these Casper movies are really fun, so I would check them out. Like, and this one, just like looking at this picture right here, is just like so nostalgic for me. So you know, it is what it is. If no one has any other movies, I have other movies.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but in the Casper movie, wasn't there a line where like the villain called someone a little bitch?
I do not remember that part. It's been a while, but I really want to rewatch this.
I was like, if that's the case, then that's like 90s, like being like, we don't give a fuck. This is PG.
I would be really shocked, but also.
I mean, you can say little bitch on TV.
Yeah.
So.
I don't think you can say bitch in a PG movie, though.
I think you can. I don't know.
The only thing you can't say is fuck, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know if you can say shit in a PG movie. Anyways.
Also, I guess it also depends on the time period, right? Like Grease, it's PG.
Ooh, yeah, they have a couple.
That was
Indiana Jones is PG.
And Jaws is PG.
Yeah.
There's a lot of blood in that.
Yep.
I got one more. Well, I got more than one more, but I got one to bring up. It's called, and this is a slew of films that if you're probably a little bit older than me, but I was also a little bit nostalgic for this. The Ernest movies, specifically Ernest Scared Stupid.
That's the only one I've seen.
You have seen it? Okay. I actually don't really remember much of this one. I wanted to bring it up because, you know, I feel like somebody watching would be like, I love Ernest Scared Stupid. It's one I want to go back to because I love Ernest Saves Christmas, and I love Ernest Goes to Jail and Ernest Goes to School. So a lot of these movies
Goes to Jail sounds awful.
It's actually really cool because you have Jim Varney as Ernest. He also voices Slinky Dog in Toy Story. He's a really good actor. He died of like cancer or something, you know, not that long ago, like before 2023 came out, because they replaced him with the guy from like The Waterboy and also Sean Hunter's dad and Boy Meets World. Yeah, and Ernest Goes to Jail. He goes to jail. And there's another guy in there who looks exactly like him, but acts completely different. He's actually like hardened criminal. And so the criminal has an idea to like swap. It's a really cool idea. I really like that one. But yeah, I mean, it's not Halloween. So But those movies are great. My mom used to say, what is it? You know what I mean, Vern? All the time to me because
Chad, you've gotten better, but Chad says like he'll end a sentence and he'll be like, "Do you know what I mean?" Like you've gotten better with that, but you
know what I mean, Vern?
You still say that a lot. And sometimes I'm like, you know what I mean, Vern?
Maybe I will start saying it and just add Vern at the end, like you do. I have more to bring up if no one else has anything. Yep. Okay. Yeah. I have Return to Oz.
I didn't see that as a kid.
Oh my god!
I know it's really fucking scary though. Apparently,
I have seen bits and pieces of this movie.
This
fucking terrifying.
So if you've seen this other one might actually count a little bit like The Craft, because that's kind of a teenage horror movie. I would say it's R. That one is a pretty hard R in some ways. I think.
Is it hard R?
I think it is, or it's definitely R. But
let me check real quick.
Also, kind of like a teen, like teens can watch this and really get into it.
R.
But that's also Fairuza Balk. It's actually very scary, The Craft, and really good. I like that movie. But the Return to Oz has little baby Fairuza Balk in it, and she's Dorothy Gale. And this was in the 80s. This was 1985, and she returns to Oz, and it's got like a lot of different creatures. Sorry, did I say creatures? I meant characters from Oz that you haven't seen in the original 1939 The Wizard of Oz. And so you even have, I think his name's Jack, and he's got a pumpkin for a head. And you have the return of the Scarecrow and the Tin Man, but you also have this, like, I don't know if she's a witch, but she's like a queen kind of like, and she has this thing where she can, like, I think take her head or her face off and replace it with another one. And then, so that's fucking scary. And then you have the Wheelers. And me and my sister used to watch this movie a lot, and the Wheelers are terrifying. Just because of the way they're like arched over and they wheel around in these costumes and they look huge. Oh my! And they chase you. So scary. It's a really good movie. It's like, let's make a Wizard of Oz sequel, and it's really scary. Like the original Wizard of Oz is actually kind of scary too. I look at that as kind of a Christmas movie in a way. I think because of the vibes that it gives, but it can also be like a Halloween movie a little bit because it's got like scary monkeys and stuff like that, and witches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Obviously, but Return to Oz is really good too.
Let's see if I can find any more.
I have a couple more, but go ahead because I've done.
Well, I didn't bring up the Monster Squad from 1987.
I know people who like that, but I haven't seen it.
It's so good.
I need to check it out.
I've heard so many people say that they love that movie.
Why do you like it so much, Hunter? Is it like an adventure movie?
I would say it's like the Goonies in that way, where it's like it's like a group of kids who discover, like, I believe it's Dracula has risen again, and they have to team up with other monsters and themselves to take out Dracula and his horde of monsters and vampires and things like that around the town.
That's really cool.
It is really fun. It's got that 80s like kind of Goonies, or like kind of where kids felt like kids, you know what I mean? Like they weren't watered down or anything. Like they talked the way kids talked. There's a really funny line. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but the kid low blows a werewolf and he goes, "Oh my god, the werewolf has nards."
Yeah, there's actually a documentary about that movie with the line as the title.
Oh, interesting.
Werewolf has nards. It's a really fun, like, adventure movie that you guys would probably love if you watched it.
Probably, yeah. We need to check that one out for sure.
I can't think of any more that
I got a couple. I mean, look, we talked about one that we talked about the director of one, and we didn't mention this one because it blends. It's transitional. It's between the two. It's Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can watch this as a Christmas movie, but also a Halloween movie.
Yeah.
I do both. I watch it during Christmas and Halloween.
Yeah, this is one we haven't gotten around to. It's not one I return to all the time, but it's great stop motion. It's great. It's got great music. The Halloween stuff is fantastic. It's Jack and he's the Pumpkin King.
This was one that scared me as a kid.
Oh,
when I was really little, like
Oogie Boogie scared you a lot?
I think I didn't even get past the first Pumpkin King song, and I was like, that is scary. I'm not.
The way his face moves is really scary. The pumpkin.
When I was really little, I had a very low threshold. Fair Gully scared me.
Oh, okay.
So, to be fair, there is a great great scares for kids in this film, especially the opening song where you have the spiders in someone's hair and you got the big song. That's a song that I'll go back to and re-listen to, and I'll even listen to covers that people do. There's a metal cover of it that's amazing with heavy metal guitar behind it, and he does the voices and stuff. It's really fun.
That does not surprise me that you know about something like that.
So there's a show that I want to bring up that doesn't really have a Halloween episode, but the whole show is a Halloween episode. It's Gravity Falls.
Okay. I've tried to get into this show so many times. Not that it's not good, because I've heard it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, for some reason, I'll start the first episode, I'll watch it, I'll maybe start the second episode, and then I'll just stop.
Give it at least 3 or 4 episodes. That's when the show starts getting into the main storyline.
Okay.
It's so good, man. I've watched it 3 times already, all the way through.
Yeah, it's not even a long show, but it does have that same vibe as Supernatural, Buffy, Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah, definitely. It's really episodic, but what I love is that there's an episode called Summerween because they don't have a Halloween. So this is their Halloween episode. It's called Summerween because it takes place during the October Halloween season.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't really have it takes place over summer break. So they can't really show you what a Halloween episode would be. So they take elements of Halloween and they give it a summer twist. Instead of a jack-o'-lantern, you have a watermelon.
Oh.
So carve a watermelon.
This might actually be a show that would be better suited for Kerri and I to watch together at some point.
Yes.
Because
I would like it.
Because we would probably really, I got to tell you, and it's something about me, getting into shows that are animated, shows, not movies, because I can deal with movies, but long-term shows.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's true. Yeah.
Maybe for you too, or just me?
No, just for you.
Just me.
I know you tried BoJack Horseman too, and you couldn't really get into that.
Because it's one of those where it's
it's like Family Guy in a way.
I think you just can't. I can't really connect to the characters on some level for such a long period of time. Where it's cartoons they're not. I don't know, and that sounds disrespectful, but I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all. I want to.
So, have you guys seen Rick and Morty?
Yes.
Do you like Rick and Morty?
2 episodes.
2 episodes.
The episode, have you seen? Did you guys like it?
Yeah, it's a really funny show.
It's funny, yeah.
And it's actually really well done because, Hunter and Kerri share this thing where we love Dan Harmon because we're big Community fans. So that level of storytelling transitions into Rick and Morty. So
yeah.
I would say Rick and Morty, I would say for me, maybe at some point I'll be able to watch the whole thing. I think it just blew up so far. I kind of just was stuff gets to a point where if you're not into it when it blows up that big, and then you just never get into it, and then it's over, and then you're like kind of like Game of Thrones. I never got into Game of
just thinking about
Thrones,
that.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The point for me, at least, when it just like passes me by, and I'm like, all right, see ya.
Yeah, maybe one day, but
Yeah, maybe one day. Because the
So,
episodes I've seen were really funny.
so what's cool about this connection to Gravity Falls with Rick and Morty is that the creator, Justin Roiland, is a main voice.
He did Gravity Falls?
Well, he's the voice of the main guy in Gravity Falls.
Because he's also the voice of Morty and Rick.
Yep.
So
Yep.
this is both.
And Dan Harmon likes to add Easter eggs of Gravity Falls in Rick and Morty. And Justin Roiland has
really cool.
and Justin Roiland has references to Rick and Morty in Gravity Falls as well.
That's really neat, actually.
Yeah. So like during the episode of Rick and Morty, you can see like Morty's like the book and Morty's not Morty but
Rick.
no, I'm
Character
hold
from
on.
Gravity Falls.
Yeah, the character from Gravity Falls. Hold on, I know their names.
Jimmy, Sam,
Dipper.
I was so close.
Dipper's hat comes out of the vortex, the portals in Rick and Morty. So like these little Easter eggs that you can catch by watching both of them.
Oh, okay. It's kind of like when you get there, it's kind of like a Buffy Angel kind of thing. It's like almost a shared universe kind of a deal.
Kind of, yeah. So it's like saying like this stuff could happen in an alternate universe with each other.
Because they have a whole thing in like Buffy where Buffy will make a call, like a phone call. Somebody will like not answer, and then she'll just hang up, and then you're like, what the hell just happened? Who did she even call? And then the phone will ring an Angel, and it's a whole thing.
That's cool.
Like, that explains why she did that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is really cool when they do that.
Yeah, so I would suggest giving Gravity Falls another chance. Get like past episode 3, and that's when the main story starts getting in. What I love about it is it delves deep into like family drama between Dipper and Mabel.
Oh, cool.
Where it's like Mabel wants to be a kid forever and wants to have that spirit, but Dipper is trying to grow up a lot more than his age, and like he's getting into girls and things like that. So that kicks in, and it's showing you like kind of their dynamic, and like no matter what, they're still family. So like that family tie is what like loops it all together.
That's really cool. I think if Kerri's okay with it, because I know we have like a little kind of list of shows that we're doing. Maybe we should like make that like the next show after Yellow Jackets, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all on Disney Plus too, so you can like binge it. It's well worth it, and there are some episodes that are probably some of my favorite episodes in like any series of all time.
Nice. I remember like friends of mine, like from like college and stuff, actually talking about Gravity Falls, and they weren't children. So people like around my age or a little younger were just like, Gravity Falls is awesome, and like
it is, yeah. It's one of those shows that like adults can like, but kids can also like. Like Avatar: The Last Airbender is a great example because it's the storytelling first, and the animated just adds this kind of weird, great element to it.
I really like that. Also, like another one that's kind of that same, like Adventure Time. That's another one that I think
I haven't watched it. I've seen episodes.
It used to be one of Kerri's favorite shows.
Yeah. That's not really. It doesn't really have any horror elements to it.
No,
they definitely have like a Halloween episode though. That's good.
No, but I was just talking about like how like kind of smart it is with its writing. So
yeah, it's very much
That's why it was on theme with what we were talking about.
Yeah, another like kind of Halloween animated show that I'm not sure if you guys have watched. It's called American Dragon Jake Long. It deals with like it's like this teen who can turn into like a dragon. He fights like the mystical like underground world. You got these people called they're like dragon catchers. Like they capture dragons and kill them for sport. So you have to like Jake deals with that. It's a really cool like kind of animated like kind of like mystical world set in like New York City, but then you have like the underground of New York City as well, which is like where all the creatures live. Like you have like pixies who live in New York and things like that.
Yeah, not probably past our time.
So it was just slightly past our time because I do remember it coming on like if I would be over like I don't know like someone else's house or like babysitting or something.
Yeah, there's like a lot of shows that I grew up on that like I know are like set in the 2000s. You can clearly tell they are.
Definitely, yeah. We were out of it at that time, but yeah.
Is there any more you guys want to bring up?
Oh yeah, I have a few more that I can bring up. Okay. I was going through like Halloween family like list on Google, and I was like, that's something cool to bring up. This movie actually was remade, and then the remake I believe was stricken from HBO when they were starting to like HBO Max when they're starting to like get rid of movies, like the whole David Zaslav stuff. And that whole thing with tax purposes and stuff like that. You've heard of this. So this movie was remade with Princess Diaries. Anne Hathaway. It's called The Witches. It came out in 1991. Yeah. And it's like this little kid. He's like in a hotel. And like one of the people there, I'm talking about. So think of like you're watching a kid who's like 4 years old, like trying to explain this movie to you. That's where I'm coming from. So it's like a lady. I think was it also in Angelica Houston?
It was Angelica Houston.
Yes.
Yeah.
And no, not 1990 is when it came out. Also, so the year I was born. This movie's terrifying. When I was a kid, it's terrifying. Is it terrifying today? I don't know, but it was when I was a child. Because it's like a little kid. The witches turn him into a mouse, and then the witches like turn into these really ugly creatures that are like what witches look like in that universe. And it's kind of, from what I remember, it's kind of like an American Werewolf in London style transformation. It's creepy.
Yeah, I actually saw a clip from this recently, and I was surprised because I knew this was a kids movie, and they literally Angelica Houston like peels her face off.
Yeah. I have a lot of,
I can't imagine watching that as like a little kid.
I have a lot of nostalgia for it, but we should recheck it out because it's gonna hit me with nostalgia.
Yeah. So there's also like scary scenes in like movies. I remember one in was it Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
Yes! The
Large Marge scene. Scared the fuck out of me when I was younger.
Do you know this?
I've seen the movie once with you.
Large Marge.
This is a Tim Burton movie. It's amazing. Pee-wee is so like his bike gets stolen and then he wants it back. That's kind of the plot of the movie. Like he wants his bike back. So he's going on an adventure to reclaim his bike and find it. He goes to the Alamo because they tell him, like the psychic he visits tells him that his bike is in the basement of the Alamo. So he goes to the Alamo, and then the people are like, there's no basement in the Alamo. And so that's one of the things that happens. And then he hits a truck stop, or he gets a ride with the lady.
Large Marge.
Does the face. It looks really stupid now, but like if you're a kid, it's really scary and like it's a jump scare.
I'm gonna try to find a photo of that real quick. Give me 1 second.
And then I kind of wish you edited these, Hunter, because then you could just like throw in a clip of Large Marge going and then he gets to the truck stop, and then they're like, "You got picked up by Large Marge. she said, tell him Large Marge sent me. And then they're like, Large Marge's been dead for 30 years.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Ah!
It's amazing. I love that movie. It's so good.
Um,
Funny movie.
we're about an hour and a half in. Do you guys want to go
Oh.
ahead and wrap it up real quick, or you have
Well, I
another
do have a couple others to bring up rapid style, but there's another scene in Pee-wee's Big Adventure that's scary, and it is the Dr. Clown scene. So like there's like a scene, I think he's having like a dream or a nightmare where like the doctors come in and that's right, they're like chopping up his bike because he really wants that bike, and he's like, no, that's his nightmare, that they're destroying his bike, and they have like clown makeup like faces and they're doctors, and it's really
I haven't seen this movie in years.
Yeah.
I'll have to rewatch it.
I used to watch it all the time, apparently. So here's some others I'll throw out before we go. Frankenweenie, that's another like Tim
Yeah.
Burton, like classic cartoon style. Corpse Bride is another one. And then you have The Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy, let's go.
Based on the ride from Disney.
Yeah.
And then you have The House with the Clock in Its Walls, which I didn't super love, but I think a lot of kids.
That's Eli Roth, right?
Yes.
Yes. And then you have Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, which is that early Disney film. And then you have the new Rob Zombie, The Munsters, which
I have watched scenes from that. That looks awful.
It was really funny, and I enjoyed it a lot.
You go into it, and it is PG, if you go into it and you, as knowing it's very much a family film and the humor is directed towards mostly kids, I think you can have a good time with it.
And if you were like a Munsters fan, you probably would really like it as well.
Yeah.
And I've already mentioned Hubie Halloween, but please check that movie out because it's really cute. It's really funny. If you have a lot of like nostalgia for like early 90s Adam Sandler, this will give you that, and it's hilarious. I love watching hilarious Halloween movies. And then I think this is the last one to bring up.
Are you going to bring up the one on your list you haven't said?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is another one in the same vein as The Nightmare Before Christmas that you could watch on either Christmas or Halloween. It's Gremlins.
Yeah, Gremlins.
Gremlins, I will say that's another one scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. That where they're in like I might just be a general store, but they're in the store and like the evil gremlins are like on the little remote control cars and stuff.
Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah, it's a very actually kind of scary movie. Like the gremlins will kill you. Gizmo's cute as hell, but the gremlins will kill you, and then they get destroyed in really gruesome ways. But yeah, it's a really, really good movie. And then the sequel, I think I might like
The New Batch.
Or The New Batch because it's like a horror comedy, and it's really fun. So check that one out too.
Okay. So yeah, I can't think of any more. I think we talked about a lot of different movies here. I will say, I am gonna watch John Carpenter's The Thing tonight for the very first time. So maybe one day soon we should do a review of it.
Dude,
a spoiler-filled review to see what I think of it compared to you guys.
Yeah,
I'm very excited for you, Hunter, because like this is, it's one that didn't get great reviews when it came out, but over time, people have often say this is one of the greatest horror movies ever made, one of the greatest films ever made.
Yeah,
and the practical effects still hold up.
Oh yeah,
a lot of great tension and paranoia.
Yeah,
and stuff like that in it. So I can't wait to you to see it. We can do a review. And I just recently bought the 4K edition of The Thing, so I'm looking forward to rewatching it with that disc. So
yeah, and then tomorrow for Halloween, I'm doing my tradition, getting candy and popcorn and watching Trick or Treat. So I'm so excited for tomorrow night.
Yeah. The Halloween movies that I think we're kind of narrowing it down to watching are Trick or Treat, Hubie Halloween, Hocus Pocus, and Halloween. Those last two have been a tradition for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get through more than two.
I'm not saying. Well, I don't know. I mean, we got all night tomorrow night. We'll see.
Okay.
Maybe. All right, guys. So that's where we're going to end it. Chad and Kerri, where people find you online?
So we did. It's ending now, but I guess we'll have 2 to 4 more movies to add to it. We did a 61 Days of Horror. If you want to check out what we watched, my letterbox, I have a list. It's English Slayfest.
Yeah, I also have a list over. I think it's just Chadwick Webb on Letterboxd. It started out at 61 days. It's like up to like 75 or something now. There's a lot we've watched.
68.
68. Okay, maybe I'm
that we actually finished.
Yeah, whatever.
365 horror. Let's do it.
It's more than 61. Let's put it that way. And it's growing, but we'll stop at the end of Halloween. But it's been really fun. Check that list out. Check out my channel, Chadwick Webb, because we've been doing a lot of really fun stuff. You know, we did Harry Potter, Christmas, Edgar Wright, MCU, Denis Villeneuve, a lot of stuff like that. But we also have started doing horror ones for October, and we did Evil Dead, Scream, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and Halloween. The first 3 I mentioned have already dropped. Halloween is going to be dropping tomorrow, this is live. So tomorrow on Halloween, I'm very excited about that. And over at the Dill Pickle Movie Network, I do a show called Picture This. For Halloween, October, we did the 1991. We watched all the Best Picture movies of the year, a year that we pick for each month. So for October, we picked 1991. The Silence of the Lambs, one of the greatest horror movies ever made. We watch those movies, we rank them, we talk about the Oscar ceremony, the actors and actresses of that year, and we rank the movies too, and we have a really good time doing it. Next month, we're doing 2009 because Avatar 2, The Way of Water is coming out, and Avatar came out that year. I do a lot of debate. I'm sorry, I said that really fast. Movie Battlegrounds over at TMG on YouTube. TMG Entertainment. Check that out because it's a lot of really fun people debating about movies and just having a good time. Thank you, Hunter. This was fun.
There we go. Yes, this was indeed fun. Join us next week for another episode of Welcome to Primetime. If you guys did enjoy this episode, hit the like button, subscribe to the Entertainment Network down below. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys soon.
Happy Halloween.